What's going on, beautiful people of the trading world? New with Soda coming at you live with another trading recap. Today we're going to be going over February 9th trades, which was yesterday here. Overall, some decent trades, some not so decent ones. Had some solid setups that played out decently. Obviously, nothing big P&L wise. I was just going for wins on setups, and I think I kind of, in going for wins and small sizes, took a little bit too much. But at that same token, it kind of forces me to make adjustments and say, okay, there wasn't a clear setup, shouldn't have made this trade, or forces me to take losses because the trade wasn't good. So I just have to go through and cut it, which you'll see I kind of did in some of these trades. I tend to have better exit than entry, which can be a bad thing, can be a good thing. So it goes both ways. First trade here, though, start at the bottom. Was on SPY, got about 7 minutes into market open, and I held this trade for about 3 minutes. I was going short here with puts, only one size, as I said. Everything was one size. If I did add two sizes, I did on the last trade, and that was an add in. I have no problem adding onto my size and moving from there, but I don't like, as of now, buying in with two two contracts, let's say. Because then if I'm wrong, then I have to take that loss that I was wrong, and it's on two contracts instead of one. So I at least want to see confirmation or potentially a better entry that I would take that second contract on. And you'll see what I mean on my last trade. But first trade here, there was a decent kind of setup, and just from looking at level 2, you could see the heaviness on the tape here. I bought in, looks like this candle I bought the puts on. Was looking for potential flush of VWAP to low of day and then potentially a breakthrough, but I was pretty tight on my risk here. So I bought in on this candle, was risking off the top of this one, which was pretty clear for me. I like having very clear areas of risks where uh, if it goes past this level, my trade plan is wrong. The whole idea was wrong. Which in this case it would be if we break this, we're going for high of day. Clearly we're not going low of day. Why would I hold a put? So that's kind of like my methodology behind stop losses and having short stops at inflection points, if you will, or uh, certain levels that seem to play out on the tape. So yeah, we got this little breakdown, which I was patient enough for. It seemed like we wick up, but I was again smart enough to follow my stop because sometimes if I see it's not going my way immediately, I might be tempted to take off the trade before hitting my stop loss, but I waited for it to play out because, again, heaviness on the tape is there. We certainly have plenty of wicks up. Uh, and that being said, also, we were hitting all-time highs like the day before. Very could easily pull back, but as Fora knows, we did not pull back. We did not do today. So I bought one put in here just to get into the trade. I've got the flush down, and I just covered it at low a day. If I wanted to do some hindsight analysis and say, oh, I could have bought two contracts, then maybe I would have looked and said, okay, confirmation, break a VWAP, add a contract, cover one into the low a day flush, and then wait for a further flush down, and then cover the second one there as we're starting to reverse. Because as you can kind of see, we actually have ascending volume, and to the downside, that's exactly what you want, ascending selling pressure to let that trade carry out, if you will. But solid one, and I will take a win right off the bat. I love that, especially on SPY, which can be a bitch sometimes, but been treating her with a little bit more respect and feeling out the tape levels and whatnot. And so I was right off that play, as you can see right there. That's where I was in that short play. I tried to scalp the long side too, like I'm some sort of professional trader, but hey, let's give it a shot. Uh, Felt the heaviness, not the heaviness, the buying come back in on the tape. It looks like it was holding this kind of key level, 30, 89, 30s. Um, Risking off low of day when I went for this buy, as I saw we kind of wicked right back up. Looked like
buyers were stepping in. They turns out they were, so I was right in my thesis, except I wasn't. My conviction was definitely a little off. I should have waited to see that buyers were still in control and held this level, and that's what kind of I think gave buyers overall on the day that momentum push. Okay, yep, buyers are still here. We're not letting this break down. Boom, right back up to high of day to test, and eventually it goes puts in a nice little flag and then goes for a high of day. Um, so $1 win. It's something. I could buy myself a little candy bar with. Actually, no, not after commissions. I can't. Fucking commissions, man. Been paying Ben H a lot of money on commissions, but that's the price of learning scalping options for sure, for sure. So not the cleanest setup here, but um, I took it and I managed it uh, kind of the way I felt that I could. Uh, this trade ended up setting up short. If you look here, we got one test, two tests, three tests, four tests, five tests, or if you want to group them all together, three tests, and boom, boom, boom. This third test you notice doesn't even make it up to the top of this candle. That's a weak as shit signal, quite literally. And obviously this is hindsight, but it played out. And on my trade, I know what I was looking for. I was looking for this kind of level to flag into and then play off the bounce. It happened, sure, but it was. This isn't clean. It's kind of nasty. Uh, the candles aren't the tightest, and as you can see, the bounce did happen, but again, it boom, just the selling pressure on the tape was too strong here, and PLTR just couldn't take it. Because look, we even got another test here. Damn, I didn't even realize that, and another short setup. Look at that, 4-0. You would have loved that right there. Damn, look at that downturn. And then it looks like finally it's set up for a nice high day break. I mean, look at that tight little flag. Boom, confirms. Nice fucking volume. Oh man, that would have been a sweet move. Hey, but that's hindsight. $9 loss though, I can certainly live with. I'll take a $9 loss any day. Same here, $2 loss, and I was rightfully so because I was trying to short again, and I want to say I shorted into this candle, which isn't a great setup. I think we were getting a little extended here, and was looking. I honestly don't think I was looking for that. I think I was kind of going in with my thesis beforehand on there's heavy selling pressure on the tape here, like we could easily wick back down, and then. But if you look at the prior context of the move, buyers held this up very nicely. Got tight consolidation, went for the pop, failed like a tiniest bit, but more or less another small wedge, and we can continue to move up a little bit higher there on the day. It showed some struggle later, but everything came back pretty strong. So just a $1 or sorry $2 loss. I immediately realized I was completely wrong on this trade and just took the loss. I was risking off I believe that just the top of that candle, so very tight risk because I easily could have been wrong and was. So I'll take it. I was wrong. $2 loss for being wrong. Not bad. Here's where I was like, what's the setup? What was I going for? I think I was just reading a little bit too into the tape and getting a little bit too in my head in terms of over trading. Because I mean, look at this point, it's only 10 o'clock and I've had quite a few trades, and I think partly what had to do with that was being home for the day and having my home set up to myself. So I was really just trying to fucking get after it, but that same you can't. You gotta wait for shit to form and then attack it and execute that plan. But I think here I was just looking for buyers to come back in and then potentially push the view up and go higher. Realistically, all I got a $3 scalp, which I don't even think commissions. Yeah, without fees. So like take all this into consideration without commissions. For some reason, they didn't get entered in. But if you're gonna try to scalp like pullbacks at the 90 MA, you got to be fucking pinpoint on it, and it's just not a good strategy in general to trend try to like sell on tiny little pullbacks unless you're going in with solid size and using shares and whatnot. It just doesn't make sense option wise, especially when that's not even a clean pullback to the 90 MA. It's very uh, it looks like we get extended here, but then boom, boom, boom. It's very iffy, to say the least. So, not the cleanest there, but I took the trade in, came out somewhat green by like $1 after commissions. So, it is what it is, except this PayPal loss. Ooh, man, did this one get me. It just really faked me out. PayPal was pretty strong, so like maybe in hindsight it wasn't the smartest to short, but I had a thesis here. I mean, look at prior in the day, not prior day. Prior in the morning here, we kind of spiked heavily up into 10 and then just immediately sold off. And it looks like if you look at the 9 EMA and 20 EMA, right where they cross, it got really tight and then broke down to VWAP. I was looking for a similar setup here. We went to pop up into that resistance level. It doesn't even look like it's going to make it up as high. So I'm like, all right, great. This looks like it's setting up for a short. I'm patient with it. I kind of see the selling coming in, and I enter a put here on these kind of like where I see the MA and EMA getting tighter, and I was hoping for that breakdown to VWAP. It looked like it was going to follow through, but uh, in hindsight, it was 130, and this selling pressure didn't continue, and it just kind of like faded right back up into it, and had to cut that for a loss there, because I really wanted to see that play out, just from what I had seen prior in the day. It kind of like skewed me, and it looks like it did it right there, but I mean, you're not gonna. That was more or less SPY too. If you look on my last trade of the day, you'll see kind of SPY went for the strike, spike up, and then sold off towards the close. So likely the same thing happened with QQQ there. Small loss on Workhorse here. Again, seeing a setup that wasn't really, the context is important, I should say. That wasn't really going to happen. It's a nice pop there on volume, but it's a pop and fade. Somebody just wanted to try to push it up, I guess. I'm not quite too sure because the volume came in strong. I mean, look on the day. That's more volume than 9:30 right at the open. So you'd like to think that, oh, it's wedging here and going for a setup to break higher, but in reality, look at the volume just completely disintegrate. I mean, that would have been my cue in essence to not take this trade. I should have waited for the confirmation that we were pushing the wedge and then got ready for that break. But instead, I pre-anticipatory bought in, hoping for that candle to hold and then the next one to push higher. So I just sold it for a small loss on. It looks like this next candle. Yeah, it looks like I sold on this candle. I'm just trying to think like where what I was thinking in the moment in terms of where my stop loss was, and I think it might have been right right here, right below where we kind of took off. So that's why I kind of waited for the pop, and I just saw it wasn't happening, so I got out for a small loss. And that's definitely where getting a feel for the tape has like helped me a bunch, especially here on Spy. This was definitely heavy, uh, heavily induced by reading the tape. As my entries weren't the best, but my exit was completely all the tape. Uh, I was seeing SPY trading in a range near all-time highs. We're looking at 390 there was a big key level, and then we were looking at, I'm sorry, 391. Yeah, 391 was a big level, but more in specific, it was this like 390. Did we touch 391? No, it was like this 390.83 level. There was just 390.85. There it is. Sorry. It was fucking heavy on the tape, and I'll kind of explain that as we get into this pop here. But I was just looking for this push higher, so I sized in with one as we were kind of like uh, getting closer to the support. Saw we went to duck in a little bit more, added to that position. That SPY was very strong in the day. You know, we're getting close to those all-time highs. Almost got caught in the wash. I waited for buyers to come back in. Luckily, they did. But part of my intuition was how fucking strong the markets were. I I had a very strong feeling that we would go for that retest, and sure enough, it played out, and it went for it. Damn, you should have seen it. You should have seen the tape. I think I think the size was like close to 300 on the tape there. I saw as soon as we went to wick up to 291, it was like 300 on the tape. I was like, oh shit! It wicked up the tiniest bit to break a new high. Look at that. What is that like? 0.002 cents. And then as soon as I saw that, I was out. I was quicker than the speed of light. I was like, oh, this ain't looking good. And my intuition was definitely right. There was loads of sellers at this level, and it just broke down into the close. Hopefully, Fora caught that nice little downside. But that pretty much covers the trades today. Thank you for listening to my insights. Hope you guys got some value from this. I know this was a little bit of a longer one, but I felt like I had a little bit to talk about in terms of my trades, where the setups were and whatnot. But appreciate you tuning along and hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your night. Thanks.